on political stability, peace, security, boosting trade and deepening the economic and monetary integration dominated the just concluded ECOWAS Extraordinary Summit in Niamey. Back home, members of the Executive Cabinet take stock after 1 year in office, compile to-do list. INEC monitors political actors in Edo, hands over voters register in Ondo. Also, on Political Update today, we will examine the concept of dividends of democracy, a cliche with its burden. I'm Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. Thank you. ECOWAS leaders have resolved to collaborate more effectively towards deepening the economic and monetary integration, as well as consolidating on political stability, peace, and security. The leaders also acknowledge Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari's efforts in providing the coordinated strategic response to fight COVID-19 in the sub-region.
The ECOWAS leaders, who had earlier considered a situation report submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari on COVID-19, noted with delight the improvement recorded in containment efforts, but urged member countries to remain vigilant to avoid a second wave of the pandemic.
It was very well received, it was applauded, it was comprehensive, and it dealt with all the complications that you will expect in an enterprise like that. Appreciated the effort he made to help to distribute COVID-19 relief materials, PPEs, ventilators, and so on to all West African countries. That was particularly pointed out, and the President was thanked for that.
On the security situation, the summit expressed serious concern over the increasing incidence of terrorist attacks in the region, resulting into deaths, injuries, and internal displacement.
There's a peace fund for the sub-region to be more self-reliant in the fight against terrorism, and they want to raise over $1 billion for that peace fund. And they recognize Nigeria's contribution already, 100 million that we've contributed in that fight. So again, they were extremely grateful to, Mr. President for his commitment. I think that what we saw was the commitment of all the leaders to the ECOWAS vision and roadmap for greater regional integration and greater solidarity.
The ECOWAS leaders also discussed at length the contentious single currency program and noted with satisfaction that both the French and English-speaking West African countries are now on the same page.
It was a contentious issue because if you recall, December 2019, the authority of the heads of government of ECOWAS agreed at Abuja that all the countries must flow together, and until they comply with all the convergence criteria, that no country can be allowed to migrate into the ECO currency. But unfortunately, what happened was that on the same day as the ECOWAS meeting was ending in December 2019, President Ouattara went ahead to say that, the Francophone were migrating by June 2020 under different conditions that were set by the heads of government. But at today's meeting, the issue came up, and I'd like to put it mildly. They accepted that they made a mistake and that there is a need for them to now stick with the already agreed program and the timelines, as well as the conditionalities that have been put in place for this program.
The socio-economic and political situation in Mali was similarly revisited, with the heads of state and government insisting on a 12-month transition program to be executed by civilian leaders.
There are going to be about 4 elections to come in the sub-region, and so they realize that some of these could be problematic, and Mr. President, also made the point that it was important to have peaceful, fair, transparent elections in the sub-region. We've seen how in Mali now they've gone back to the old ways of coup d'etat, and so that we really have to be careful to maintain that reputation for which ECOWAS is known, stable political environment.
Meanwhile, President Nana Akufo-Addo of the Republic of Ghana was elected as the new ECOWAS chairman, while the candidature of Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has been endorsed for election as Director General of the World Trade Organization. President Muhammadu Buhari has since returned to Abuja.
Now back home, in reviewing the first year of the second tenure of the Buhari administration, the president has given his lieutenants the marching orders to ensure the vigorous and prompt implementation of the economic sustainable plan programs intended to bring succor to the people.
It is just a few days after a year that the ministers had the first retreat right here at the banquet hall of the State House.
Your Excellency.
They are back to review how far they had gone in the implementation of policies, programs and projects to improve the quality of the lives of Nigerians and set Nigeria on the path of prosperity.
When we met 1 year ago, little did we know that the world will be in a serious economic, social and health crisis that has left even the major economies of the world in disarray.
While the commitment and dedication is still on course, some unforeseen circumstances had led to the government taking some hard and painful decisions, among which is the removal of petroleum subsidy.
The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a severe downturn in the funds available to finance our budget and has severely hampered our capacity. One of the steps we took at the beginning of the crisis in March, when oil prices collapsed at the height of the global lockdown, was the deregulation of the price of premium motor spirit such that the benefit of lower prices at the time was passed on to consumers. This was welcomed by all and sundry. The effect of the deregulation is that pump prices of petrol will change with changes in global oil prices. This means, quite regrettably, that as oil prices go higher, we could see some increases in pump price. This is what has happened now. There are several negative consequences if government should even attempt to go back to the business of fixing or subsidizing petroleum prices, or PMS prices. First of all, it will mean a return to the costly subsidy regime. Today, as we've heard, we have 60% less revenues. We simply cannot afford the cost.
This retreat is very important, and participants are urged to accord priority to the deliberations. The outcome of the retreat is expected to pave way to accelerating the delivery of government policies, projects, and programs in the coming years.
And the president also called on ministers and senior officials to accordingly ensure the vigorous and prompt implementation of the economic plan programs, which will give succor to Nigerians.
The president, of course, is participating in today's retreat. We'll be expecting, the recommendations later on in the day. And also, of course, we bring them to you as we get them. Now, APC and PDP gubernatorial aspirants Pastor Sage Ize-Iyamu and incumbent Governor Mr. Godwin Obaseki are leaving no stone unturned in getting the attention of would-be voters. Let's go to Benin.
The All Progressives Congress is touring the wards in Esan West and Igwebe, where the governorship candidate, Pastor Ize-Iyamu, told the people that the public-private partnership, infrastructure, as well as manpower development of a simple agenda will be effectively utilized to open up Ogwa and Esan West and boost the socio-economic lives of the people.
Some women but the youth, if you vote for APC, you are voting for development. When you put hand for that place. So if you are not saying you have to vote for APC, leave that in the heart for
The running mate to the APC candidate, Malam Gani Audu, in company of his wife, Nana, and the former national chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, as well as other party chieftains, also took the simple agenda campaign to Anegbete Ward 9 and 10, Udaba Ward 7 and 8, as well as Imegbai Ward 9 in Isako East. The campaign tour at some point had in attendance a movie artist and lawmaker Desmond Elliott and a comedian, Aigudai.
We will do the right thing. You know our agenda is very simple. Exactly.
Very simple agenda.
Yes.
That should say, if it's where they fear God, they for government. He go do something where he go reduce hardship. Yes. Not to be lamenting. Now this man, I don't know when he came back again, but we are peaceful, and it's good to be peaceful.
Meanwhile, the PDP candidate has promised to establish a University of Innovation in Oedo local government area. He said this at the last lap of the PDP word-to-word campaigns in Oedo local government area.
We are going to have what we call a technology hub. We are going to have a technology park. We did an MOU to lay fiber for internet, 400 kilometers around Benin. And we have put it in that technology park. So this next term, we are going to have an area like no other in West Africa. Thousands of young men and women can go and be trained.
The PDP candidates and the party leaders also visited Ward 1 and 2 in Ogba Court and wards in Ogbesan, where eligible voters were told to use their PVCs wisely.
It is not just APC and PDP. There are 12 other parties fielding candidates in Edo State gubernatorial election, which is in 10 days. Let's see the level of preparedness of these parties.
According to the list released by INEC, 14 political parties are jostling for the governorship seat. They include the Young Progressive Party, the Action Democratic Party, the National People's Party, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, and Labour Party. Mercy Agor of the New Nigerian Party is one of the female candidates in the Edo election. She says her party is strategizing to ensure a female emerges as the governor come September 19.
I'm very prepared. Just like I told you, I went on a campaign tour to Edo North. And there's a lot of agitation on ground. People are clamoring for a change. And as a candidate for NNPP, we believe that we are going to change the narrative in Edo State. We are going to put smiles on the people of Edo State. And our agenda is explicit. Yes, there's been a lot of talk of building schools, training teachers, and but they forgot one thing. That is leadership training.
Labour Party is adequately prepared for a free and fair election. If the election is free and fair, Labour Party will do very, very well.
ABGA remains ABGA. We have not aligned with anybody. We have not collapsed our party to anybody. And if those people are ready to support us, we are prepared for the election. I will conduct what I refer to as employment on the part of the youth.
Very much on the race. Last week we've been on our senatorial district in Esan Central, and by tomorrow we'll be going to Edo North. So we've always been in the race, and we are in the race.
Some other candidates say financial constraint and the COVID-19 situation has contributed to the low-key campaigns by their political parties.
If you say you've not been hearing about us, I think you are not far from the fact. It's just because ABGA is not too financially buoyant, though we are number 3 party in Nigeria.
In the stage we're still campaigning, and our model of campaign is in compliance with the COVID-19 directive that we should as much as possible to minimize pulling crowds together, relying on new media and traditional media as a means of communicating our message to the electorates.
When our rallies, word to word, local government to local government, that's what we've been doing. We've gone through Edo Central, going through all the wards in Edo Central, and from tomorrow we'll be going to Edo North. In our agenda, we said we are going to be transparent and we are going to give proper accountability to the people.
They, however, want the people to know they are still in the race for the governorship seat in Edo. Political parties are currently mopping up campaigns at the ward level. In Benin, Obehi Otuba Presai, NTA News.
Thank you, Obey, for that one. It is, for all intents and purposes, it is the business end of the year in more ways than one, as not much government business could be conducted in the earlier part of the year, of course, with society focused solely on batting down the hatches with the pandemic in full sway. Key elections are around the corner. Economic concepts are being deployed and re-evaluated to keep the society on an even keel. Now, Honorable Richard Bandi of Katsina Ala Ukum Logo Federal Constituency joins us today. Thank you for joining us. We will go back to the retreat and what to expect, especially as we're expecting, some of the to-do lists that will later come on later in the day. But let's quickly look at elections and the language so far. Are you encouraged? Of course, we've seen some of the smaller parties come up to say they're still in the race. Of course, they look a bit socially distant from the people at the moment, but notwithstanding, they should be given a chance.
Thank you, Basayo. In our country, most people look at elections as a do-or-die affairs, which I don't believe in. Elections should be people-driven. It is expected that the people will make their own choice. They know who they want to vote, and they should be encouraged to do so. But in a situation whereby people superimpose themselves on the electorates, using all kinds of violence is totally condemnable. I believe our security agencies are doing very well, but they should double their efforts so that at the end of the day, there will be peace and tranquility. They will maintain order, and the people will actually do what they want. Even our electoral empire, the INEC, they have been doing well, but it is my candid appeal to them to double their effort. In human society, there must be some kind of violence. But when you look at it, the violence is even more than 40–50%, then something is wrong somewhere, and the electorate will be disappointed. Okay. But in a situation whereby it is at least less than 30%, because once you score 70%, it is already an A. So once it is 70% and above, I believe the election will be totally acceptable to even the locals and the international communities. But as a people, it is our duty to ensure fairness.
All right, time is not our friend. We are looking at, there's a re-evaluation going on at the moment, but what are the low-hanging fruits you want government to quickly look at, especially in terms of your interaction with your constituents and things you think we can be doing before the close of year to perhaps boost our economy and, of course, make, the citizens productively engaged?
So, thank you. Especially where I come from, Katsina Okum Logo Federal Constituency, we are emerged in security challenges. It is a hot place, a hot zone, and I believe government is trying. And whether we like it or not, security is not the sole responsibility of security agencies. The entire people, the host communities must also be involved. In our place, the stakeholders met, dialogue and discuss under the leadership of our Senator, former Governor of Benue State, Dr. Gabriel Tosuwa-Susam. We met our governor, discussed with him, and he has accepted to give another amnesty for the bandits. And believe you me, today is the D-Day. The security agencies are in Benue State, the governors are there, and the people are coming. If you see the dangerous weapon that are turning, you'll be surprised. So I believe security is a major challenge for our country. With the rumor or leaked memo, even in Abuja, that Boko Haram are around Capital Territory and the neighboring state, is creating panic. But I believe if the government step up, and we members of the society, we Nigerians, will consider ourselves as part and parcel of our security architecture, I believe the problem is surmountable.
All right, let's quickly go. We have taken Edo State before we go. Of course, Ondo State is also just around the corner. We're talking about, some suspected hoodlums invaded the Ondo State House of Assembly in the early hours of Monday. Doris Olumoko filed this report from Akure.
As early as 8 in the morning, some hoodlums were sighted at the outer perimeter of the assembly trying to gain access to the complex, but the policemen stationed at the assembly resisted them. Unconfirmed reports has it that the hoodlums allegedly invaded the assembly to prevent some suspended lawmakers from resumption following an Akure High Court judgment which ordered the immediate restatement of the lawmakers.
So many other talks barricaded the entrance to the gate of the House of Assembly, disallowing us from gaining entry.
Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer Tilio Ikoro urged members of the public not to panic as their lives and property are well protected. As at the time of filing this report, the leadership of the Assembly is holding a meeting to address the issue.
Let's stay in Akure. Ahead of the gubernatorial election in Ondo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has handed the register of voters to the political parties there.
Handing over the voters' register of 1,822,346 voters, which was used for the 2019 general elections in Ondo State, to the political parties, INEC National Commissioner Adekunle Ogumola explained that the decision was informed by the inability of the Commission to register new voters, issuance of permanent voters' card, transfer of voters' registration, and replacement of lost PVCs due to the incidence of the coronavirus pandemic in the country. From the voters' register, PVCs distributed at 1,478,460, while 372,888 are yet to collect their PVCs.
I assure you that the Commission will open the window for another continuous voter registration once the course is clear on the currently raging pandemic.
And in its quest to conduct free, fair, and credible election devoid of violence, the Commission also organized a training on security during which experts enlightened stakeholders on election management and how to avoid violence during election and how to manage risk elements associated with it.
Before we go, one last question for our guest, Honorable Richard Bande. Now, the year has witnessed a big interruption in the order of things due to, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. Has the legislature been able to achieve most of its objectives for this year?
Thank you. The impact of COVID-19 pandemic is a global problem, and I believe here in Nigeria it has actually affected us. But I believe, as one of the lead economists with World Bank, Macro Hednas says, we have to actually bring bold reforms, strong fiscal and monetary policy actions to bear on our intervention. You know, policy formulation and policy implementations are two different things. In our country, we have good policies, programs, and even projects, but the level of implementation is the major problem we're having. And I believe if we strengthen the implementation phase of our policies and programs, I believe we are going to get it right. And as we know, we must call a spade because of the COVID pandemic. We cannot even, as legislators, do our oversight function effectively. And even on the executive side or arm of government, you cannot overblame them because time is not even on time, because they are actually hindered and impeded.
All right, thank you so very much. We've had Honorable Richard Bande of Katsina Ala Ukum Logo Federal Constituency join us today. We'll still come back to you. He's studied business administration. Will probably give us tips on all that in our subsequent programs. That has been Political Update for today on the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest and finest. My name is Fisa Ogunfe, thanking you for being a part of it. And for those who, of course, are in the race in Edo State, NTA, it's your first point of call. We will, of course, help you talk about your programs and projects, no matter how small the party, the platform is right. Fisa Ogunfe is my name. Thanking you for staying tuned. All the best. Enjoy the rest of your week and keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.